Yo, 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 what up? This is Rama Screen. How's it going, everybody? And this is Sunday, and we're going to do another discussion video blog with my friend from the East Coast, Tyler Calvert. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. It's a little raining out, raining a bit hard outside, but otherwise I'm indoors, so it's okay.
Awesome, awesome. And we're going to be discussing shark movies in celebration of the upcoming The Meg. And Tyler reminded me, Sharknado 6 is also on its way.
Yeah, woohoo.
And of course, the regular Shark Week that we always love on Discovery. So Tyler and I actually kind of boil it down to a few titles, but we're gonna also discuss some of the sequels, and also um, we're gonna start with before we're gonna. I think Tyler, I think you're gonna agree with me. Let's lead up to the ultimate Jaws, the greatest of all
Yeah,
time. So let's
yeah.
start with 47 meters down.
Oh yeah.
Now I rewatched this again to preparation for our discussion, and I must say it brought me back to first of all I don't know about you, Tyler, but I did cage diving back in 2011.
Oh
But it was
really?
not, yeah, but it was not great white. It was one of those the tamer sharks.
Oh yeah, that works.
It was in Hawaii. I was a little disappointed. I was like, all this money, I didn't get a great white, but they don't have great whites over there.
Well, at least you weren't in the same situation as them in the movie where they just drop all the way down 47 meters and you're just stuck there for who knows how long.
That is also like when I watch it again, and you can chime in whenever you like, but the cage, it was kind of rusty, and it was like, how do you
It was
trust
very
it?
shady. It was a very shady operation. They made that pretty clear though in the movie. Like they seem like pretty sketchy dudes.
Yeah, and Matthew Mondine, and I love the guy. I was like, well, Matthew, what are you doing? Why do you put those two girls?
Yeah,
So what's
ridiculous.
what's your take on that, man?
I mean, I didn't dislike it at all. I mean, it's like typical shark movie fare. I mean, I think of the shark movies that came out over the last couple of years, I mean, it's probably like in the middle because I always liked the Shallows more with
Oh
Blake
my
Lively.
God, yes, I forgot about that.
That's the one I actually like as far as like recent shark movies go. That's kind of like the bar I've set as far as like recent shark movies. That's why I'm like hoping the Meg is like a big bunch of dumb, stupid fun. Like, but 47 meters down, I mean, it was such like a simple concept. I mean, I'm assuming the movie didn't really cost that much to make because they didn't really do anything.
Exactly,
It's
it's
just
only
like
one
they're
location
just in a
basically.
cage. They're just in a
Yeah,
cage. They're just in a cage underwater for probably like 80% of the runtime.
I gotta hand it to the actors. What's her name? Claire
Mandy
Holt.
Moore.
Yep, Claire Holt and
Was
Mandy
it
Moore.
good old Mandy Moore?
Now, thanks for bring up the Shallows. The Shallows, Blake Lively, because I know this is a bit on tangent, but I love how Blake Lively kind of, how do you call that? How she kind of gave it up to. I mean, she kind of put up a fight. It was like an equal footing, her versus the shark. Um,
Yeah,
I was like, whoa! It's like freaking Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed.
yeah.
It's
Don't give him any ideas. They'll try and make one of them fight a shark in the future.
Usually the humans are disadvantaged, but I was like, whoa, Blake Lively actually fought back. That's interesting. But back to
Yeah,
47 meters down, I want to say I was a little disappointed there was not a lot of shark moments. It's
yeah,
mostly about, but the fear is mostly about them running out of air, running out of oxygen.
yeah.
That, I,
Because they're so deep underwater that if they try and rush up, they'll get the bends and die. Basically.
yeah, I think that was the fear. Like, oh my God, drowning is the most painful death. I was told, people have told me. So I think that to me was scarier than the shark. The shark only came out like once in a blue moon in that movie.
Well, yeah, because most of the runtime they're too scared to leave the cage because of the sharks that are around. So they're just like, okay, well, guess I'll just drown instead of trying to fend for myself. And then they do eventually in the final act of the film because it would be boring if they just drowned at the end.
Although I must say, I gotta give credit where credit's due, and you can disagree or agree with me on this, but um, it kind of captures the shark kind of accurately because in the movie Jaws, we'll discuss Jaws too, and then
I have a lot of thoughts about
Sharknado,
that.
exactly. Even in the first movie Jaws, like the shark would attack the cage. It's like
Yeah,
I don't think sharks would like intentionally. keep coming back to the cage. Like, wow, wow, I want to eat you.
Yeah,
It's like,
like I hate you specifically, so I'm going to do everything in my power to just get you, which is basically what they do in the Jaws films. This is why I was like, I got wait till we get to those movies because those
like,
vengeful sharks.
like they have a vindictive personal vendetta. So I
Well,
gotta give,
that's literally what Jaws 4 is.
yeah. So I gotta give 47 meters down some credit for that. I think you can agree on that, right? I think
Yeah, yeah, but the other
shark
interesting
wise.
aspect was they made it kind of like psychological at the end because I guess we can go into spoilers
Oh yes, let's do
because
spoilers. Let's do spoilers.
because it seems like okay where they're getting out free and all that and no she's still stuck down there. She was just hallucinating because she's deprived of oxygen.
Wait. So that was a non-happy ending, right? If I remember correctly.
I think didn't they get her at the end like I think they did get her at the end but like
Uh,
barely.
they did get her. The divers got her. That was kind of like a disappointing part for me because I wanted to leave on the hallucination part. I wanted to leave unhappy. That would have
Yeah,
been really
make
cool.
it like a Shyamalan like twist.
That would have been awesome.
Like if M Night Shyamalan directed a shark related film, that would be like the twist that he would throw in.
And the other twist is the shark is a ghost the whole time.
Yeah, the shark. Or yeah, the shark. There actually was no sharks. The sharks were never there. It was all their imagination.
Now, before we move on to the next title, I don't know if you know this, but they're making 47 meters down sequel. They already
Isn't it just
announced it.
called 48 meters down?
Yeah, exactly.
They just go down one more meter. But however, will they endure an extra meter?
And, what is the cage gonna be made of titanium now? Or they're gonna be like,
Well, it's just probably gonna be the same situation. They'll just go 1 meter deeper, I guess. That's what I assume, just based on the title. You think maybe they could like double it, make it like like 80 meters down or something? But but I mean like just another meter, I guess. Whatever.
oh my god! Oh, I cannot wait for that. Oh, I'm gonna laugh and laugh and laugh.
Does that have like a release date or anything yet? Because I haven't heard anything about it since the initial like announcement of the sequel.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, well, I don't blame them then, I guess.
All right, so the next one is Deep Blue Sea, and I'm with you. I also watched the sequel. I also watched
Oh
the
yeah,
sequel.
that really horrible direct to DVD video on demand thing with like the baby sharks and all that stuff.
Here's the thing. I jot some notes when I rewatched it again this past week because I was like, oh, I gotta talk to Tyler about this. Uh, the if you watch Deep Blue Sea again, you guys, it felt like it's not even like a shark movie. It felt like Waterworld meets Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Did you
it
feel
was
it?
like well yeah in a way because they were trying to like make the sharks like really smart because they were trying to like they tried to make it all ridiculous with the plot of they had to extract the enzymes from the sharks' brains because they made them all
Yes.
intelligent. Then they were gonna like cure Alzheimer's with it, and it was like okay, I guess we're trying to make something really intelligent sounding at least.
Yeah, and the facility that they have, it's kind of like Waterworld. The
Yeah,
Dennis Hopper's command center, but and also the sharks, like you said, they act like velociraptors. They're like really smart. They could like open doorknobs, whatever. so,
pretty
so
much.
so that's how I felt, and they're like go from one end of the hallway to the next. It felt like a Jurassic Park movie for me. I was like,
It was
that,
basically like Jurassic Park if it was just all like sea related creatures.
yes, yes. So and it's fun to see Thomas Jane being blonde.
Well, yeah, though that's the big discrepancy between the original and the straight to DVD sequel is the fact
Yeah.
that the original Deep Blue Sea actually had like legitimate stars in it, whereas like who the hell are
Yes.
these people in Deep Blue Sea 2? Because like Deep Blue Sea 1 had Samuel L. Jackson,
Oh
Stellan
yeah.
Skarsgård, Thomas Jane, LL Cool J.
Woo.
I don't think I knew anybody from the cast for the sequel.
Me neither. The sequel was like it was like a downgrade, like in terms of cinematics, in terms of story, in terms of dialogue. Everything is just so bad. It's just so bad.
Well, yeah, at least Deep Blue Sea had like some really dumb moments, but they were at least entertaining moments.
Yes. Even the death scenes was pretty entertaining. My favorite death scene is of course Samuel L. Jackson when he was like preaching.
Midway through a Samuel L. Jackson speech, and the shark just jumps up and just bites him and brings him down.
I bet you if the shark hadn't gotten to him, that few bit seconds, he would have said "motherfucker." He would have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I figured he would at least say it and then get bit, just
Exactly.
because that would fit appropriately. I think my favorite part, my favorite part, just because it's so ridiculous, is Papa Skarsgård. He gets it the worst out of like anybody in that movie. Like it's like he literally he gets his arm bitten off. He gets strapped to that helicopter. He gets strapped in that gurney because they're gonna like helicopter him out. The sharks, he's like hovering in the water and they don't pull up. They don't pull up. And the sharks, cause the helicopter he's in to crash into the facility, killing the people in the helicopter while he's still stuck on this cable to this destroyed helicopter. And then you see underwater, one of the giant great whites just has Stellan Skarsgård in his mouth and throws him up against the glass. Like, I've never seen anybody get that bad before in a movie, where it's like, not only did you have your arm bitten off, then you were strapped to a gurney, and the helicopter was gonna, save you, crashes, and then the shark rams you against the glass underwater, and then he dies. I'm assuming, because it's like they don't show him after that, but I would assume he died.
You know what? Thanks for bringing that up, because that was exactly what I thought of when I saw that scene from Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, when the guy was like hanging on by the helicopter. Remember that? That was like that took me back to Deep Blue.
Good old Deep Blue Sea and Jurassic Park references.
Man, oh, that movie cracked me up. But yeah, the sequel it's not even funny. The sequel was so bad. Like, there was no funny parts. It's like
No.
they had like a baby sharks that act like piranhas.
Yeah, they just like swarmed people. It was so weird.
and
the CGI effects that they did for like the people, like the dead bodies floating around, they sew them against the glass, and it was really horrible.
Yes.
Like, that movie in every aspect was just like horrible. I mean, not like Deep Blue Sea was like a masterpiece, but I mean, at least it was entertaining for what it was.
And of course, who would have thought that years later, Stellan Skarsgård and Samuel Jackson will be part of Marvel Cinematic Universe? But that's
Yeah, and even in that, Stellan Skarsgård kind of got the short end of that stick, didn't he?
Yeah,
because he's not even really in it anymore.
But again, this brings to the formulaic generic formula of we're gonna do good with this facility. This is for science. And then, of course, things go haywire, and the screaming starts. So
Nature always finds a way.
So it's been played out, man. It's been played out.
Nature always wins.
How many more of this can you do?
Well, there's like 5 billion shark movies, so I mean, they're just gonna keep doing it somehow.
Oh my god. Okay. Any more thoughts about Deep Blue Sea, my friend, before we go on?
I thought it was really weird how LL Cool J was basically not a part of the cast for like 90% of the movie.
You're right. He was separate, right?
Because he was just like the chef that just did his own thing with his like parrot for like most of the movie, and then he killed 2 of the 3 sharks.
Yes.
like there was like 3 sharks, like main sharks in the movie, and he was apart from everybody, and he killed like 2/3 of them himself. Because he stabbed that one in the eye with the cross necklace.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, as we talked about earlier, that scene with the cross, not the cross necklace, the one where LL Cool J killed him when he was stuck in the microwave oven. So the shark was like keep ramming onto that microwave, like
screw that microwave.
But here's a trivia, or like a fun fact, not trivia. The parrot was actually voiced by Frank Welker.
I believe it. Pretty much every animal seems like is voiced by him and everything, because he just does a lot of noises for like animals and stuff.
I know, but it's just funny because You can just get somebody off the street to voice a parrot, but you're gonna have to hire a legend.
Yeah, he's like the go-to guy for like random stuff like that. I don't know why. I like him though. I mean, I like Frank Welker. I mean, he's voiced many classic characters, but it's just like when you think of like any noise you think like an animal would have, you think it would be like an actual animal, not like some guy doing it in a studio with ADR.
Well, before we move on, I just want to ask you too, but why? Because this video contains spoilers, of course, so we can discuss spoilers. Why is it that one girl that wanted to research the sharks for Alzheimer's purposes, why did
Yeah,
she why did she use herself as a bait? That was a stupid idea. Remember that?
because she's dumb. Because I mean, there's no real. I don't think there's really any type of like explanation for it.
She was this idiot.
Well, I think she was supposed to survive, and then they digitally edit her out of that scene, right? I remember reading about that. Like she was actually supposed to survive, but then they digitally removed her after like test screenings. So that's why it's like
Oh,
LL Cool J and Thomas Jane are there on that like that cage, and when the people from the facility are coming at the end, to just like I guess, hey, by the way, this entire thing is underwater now, and we don't have jobs, but. She, she was supposed to be there, but she got digitally removed because she's stupid, I guess, and wanted to like die. I guess in that situation, gets eaten by the shark for no reason.
yeah, for no reason, because Thomas Jane his character already had an idea. It's like if I'm gonna do this, but she's like, oh, let me put myself as the distraction or a bait. I was like, what? What? That's so dumb.
Well, I
It's
thought she
just
should have died earlier in the movie because didn't she like she took off her suit,
yes,
her rubber suit, and she was like because of the electricity, but like her wetsuit was already wet, so it would still conduct through it because it's wet. But I don't know. She deserved to die. She was dumb.
she was dumb. I guess we could agree that Deep Blue Sea is one of those movies where suspension of disbelief. You need to spend it even more.
Well, yeah, but especially the fact that they made them super smart sharks, and they all cure Alzheimer's, I guess.
All right, let's go on with one of my favorite movies of all time, Sharknado.
Uh, I mean, I actually didn't think. mean, they're all ridiculously stupid, but at least the first one had like charm, I guess you could say, as much dumb charm as you could have it, I guess. But it's just like as they went on, it just got more and more and more absurd.
Yes, I watched it again, and I agree with you. I couldn't bear going through the third and fourth. I just couldn't sit through them because they just get dumber and dumber. I feel like my brain cells just die off with each passing installment. I was like, I can't, I can't. I want to be
Well, yeah,
smart.
between that and just like the horrible green screen and
Yes.
just the bad acting, and then there's like 500 different celebrity cameos. It was like I'm done. It's like the third after the third one, I was like I'm done, no more.
But again, credit where credit's due, because I because I've read some reviews about the Meg. It seems like it's gonna be bad, and it's not even enjoyable bad, like really really bad. So I hate
Yeah,
that. I love it when if it's a bad movie that at least it's enjoyable. But no, I from what I read, the Meg is just bad. But as credit where credit is due, Sharknado is enjoyable in at least the first movie because it's so bad. And then the difference between this and the Meg is that the Meg tries to be taken seriously, whereas
hmm
Sharknado is like, no, we wanted to make a bad movie from the start. This was our intention. The
well,
Asylum
yeah. Who
production.
thought? Just the fact that they thought, what can we put together? Let's have a tornado and fill it with sharks. Like,
Exactly.
like who? What kind of weed was whoever wrote this movie smoking when they were thinking up that kind of plot?
Do you remember when it opened? I think it was 2011 or something like that. I remember it also opened in theaters, select theaters, and there were
Yeah,
long lines, bro. Holy
yeah. I
crap!
refused to see it in theaters because it was like it's on sci-fi. But it's like I'm not seeing. I'm not letting the public know I'm going to see this movie.
Well, I remember it was like a big thing. It was like it went viral. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the popularity for it was because of Twitter and how absurd everyone thought Sharknado was.
But here's the thing: you mentioned it's absurd. Uh, by that point, or prior to that movie, sci-fi was known to have released absurd movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
They have a lot of really crappy schlock on there, but like this
yeah,
was like their first like I guess like major hit because it was because it actually did well.
Yeah, what was that other one? The alligator monster versus
They
T
have like
Rex.
there's like so many of those. There's like three
Yeah.
like two-headed shark attack, five-headed shark attack, shark like mega mecha shark versus three-headed shark, and like
See,
there's like one where like there's like a it's like a half shark, half octopus.
I'm telling you, sci-fi. That's why you watch it. Now it's all serious with the Expanse and Van Helsing and Winona Earp. I was like, no, that's not the
Yeah.
sci-fi I know.
I remember back when sci-fi didn't have that weird spelling. That remember it used to be spelled like normally. Like now it's all like weird spelled. That's how long I've been watching sci-fi for.
I'm with you, brother. And the thing is also on my note is, dude, a tornado and hurricane in Los Angeles. That doesn't happen here, okay?
No, well, luckily, I guess they maybe somebody. I don't know if it was actually that why, but like it pointed out to them that doesn't happen there because they did move throughout the sequels because the second one's in New York
Yes.
and the third one was in DC. So it's like I guess let's move it to East Coast because it makes more sense to have these weird shark tornado things.
Yeah, because it's like from the movies. The first movie is like from the Gulf of Mexico. It made its way to Los Angeles. I was like,
Well, yeah, and then they're just like, fuck it, let's go to space for like the fourth one or whatever. I remember I saw some. Well, even the third one had some stuff in space because like the main guy from the movie, like he was like had like a chainsaw that was like a lightsaber kind of thing. He was like cutting a shark in space with like this lightsaber chainsaw looking thing. I don't know if you saw the third one, right?
I haven't seen the third one. No.
Well, the end of like the third one, there's a scene where, there's the scene where they're in space with the sharks and the chainsaw, the lightsaber chainsaw, and he literally gets eaten by the shark, but like the shark's falling back into orbit, so it's like burning up in the atmosphere. But
Wow.
he's inside of the shark, and he's like cuts a as it's like in the atmosphere, burning up in the atmosphere, going down. He cuts a hole in the shark and makes it so it has a parachute, so he can parachute down in this carcass of the shark as it's burning up in the atmosphere and landing in the ocean. That's not me kidding either. That actually happened in Sharknado.
Dude, I would not be surprised. You told me that, I believed you, man. I believed you.
Well, yeah, not only that, but Tara Reid she was inside one of the sharks that fell down, and like she had, well, they chainsaw. You hear the chainsaw inside the shark because I mean they seem to have the common theme where the sharks when they just chainsaw themselves out of sharks a lot in these movies. Yep. And Tara Reid chainsaws her way out of the shark, but she doesn't come out first. Like a baby comes out first, and then Tara Reid. So it's like I can't watch these movies anymore. That's why I didn't watch 4 or 5.
Which begs to wonder, like, how big are these sharks' bellies? Because it keeps happening again and again. Like,
well, they literally eat people whole. Like literally, like apparently they're big enough to just hold entire people without swallowing or chewing or anything.
And in the first movie, it was Ian Ziering and that girl Nova in one shark. The whole body is like 2 bodies in one shark. I was like, what is going on?
I mean, those are ridiculous. But like the other stuff, it was at least the other stuff was funny, where it would be like a shark that's flying around in a tornado, and it would just come by and like bite somebody's arm off or something. Whereas these other ones, they would just have like eat like entire people and be fine.
I was also thinking, like, when I was watching it again, I was like, okay, if I was Ian and if I was Tara Reid, like, I guess I could be grateful that I have a steady job, but I don't know. What do you think? Would you be embarrassed? Would you be embarrassed as an actor if you get this kind of gig?
I mean, they probably get paid well for it. I mean, especially since they've made so many of them. I guess maybe probably after like the first one, they probably like I want like a pay raise because they probably got paid like nothing for the first one, and then they probably want to negotiate more and more. Because I remember not that long ago, whatchamacallit, they were because the big thing with the whole pay discrepancy in Hollywood, where male actors get paid more than female actors, blah blah blah. Because Tara Reid was talking about how she gets paid less than he does for the movies, even though they're in the same thing. So I think they. I mean, I don't know how much they get paid per movie, but I think she made less. I can't imagine being a lot though, because it's a sci-fi thing. I don't think they just break out the Brinks truck for either of them.
But yeah, I'm thinking like I know this is not like a career defining franchise, and I think the risk is that I mean no, the upside is that hey, if I'm Ian or Tara, I'm not getting offered to do other gigs anyway, so might as well just do this. And it's like
Yeah,
just looking at the upside where I get paid to do this again and again.
yeah, because I
I
haven't
think
seen either of them in anything else in many
exactly.
years. Because I mean, Tara Reid, I used to see her in a lot of stuff back in the day, so this was kind of like a resurgence for her career, really. These Sharknado movies.
Yeah, I think they're just grateful to have something. At least
Well,
that's
yeah,
my opinion.
start as long as they got a steady gig. I mean, why not?
Why the hell not? That's right.
They
By
probably
the
don't
way,
care how stupid they are.
and I'm sure deep down, I'm just speculating. I don't know what's in their hearts, but deep down, they know what their talent's level is, their skills. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
I guess this is the best I could get. This is the best I
yeah.
could do.
It's
just gonna
either
ride the
this,
wave.
it's either this or nothing, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, Rama Screen is actually the one that broke exclusively Sharknado 6. It was last year. Tara Reid.
Oh,
I
oh
interviewed
boy.
her on the red carpet. Yeah, so that was
The
pretty
last
cool.
the
A
last
little plug
one,
there.
isn't it called like the last one or something like that?
That's coming out this month, right?
I think later this month, yeah. Unfortunately.
It's amazing sometimes when I rewatch the first movie when Ian he started shooting up, under the sky, started shooting freaking flying sharks. I was like, how do you know that you hit your target? It's just like,
Yeah. It was just like those movies don't have any logic behind them. I learned as I rewatched them to talk about them. I was like, there is no logic behind these movies. If you actually try to apply logic to majority, not even just the Sharknado movies, but a lot of these Jaws and Bleak Blue Seas, there's no point. It'll just hurt you more.
would you buy a collector's edition set of Sharknado on Blu-ray?
If it had like some type of cool like thing in it, like maybe like a cool like statue or something, or if it was like a
Oh,
cool or if it was like a really cool kind of box set, because I don't know, it's probably back there somewhere, but I do have like the Batman '66 collector's box set that's like the long box set and has like a car and playing cards and all this crap
wow.
in it. So I think I can actually, yeah, if I move it,
Yeah,
say
show me.
it's right, yeah, it's that right down in the bottom middle. That's like
Okay,
the
I
big
see it.
collector set for Batman. So
Ah,
if it was something goofy like that, maybe, but
yes.
I'm
So you're
not gonna
saying
like break the bank for it or anything.
no? I agree with you. If it has like a bloodied shark head figurine, a figurine of it, then I would probably consider it.
Just some ridiculous like posed figure with a shark overhead or something.
All right. Anything you want to add for this one
Screw
before
those
we go?
movies. Screw this. I'm glad if that actually is the last one, because it's called like the last one or something like that. Those movies are ridiculous.
What was the fifth one? Global swarming? Was it global
Yes.
swarming?
And then like they copied Star Wars with the fourth one. It was called like the Fourth Awakens or whatever. And the poster is literally like a rip off of the Star Wars 7 poster.
Well. Here's the before we move on. Now you brought that up because I remember now. It's these movies are made by the Asylum. You know the Asylum, right? These guys, the production.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, so,
they're not known for quality, but I know of them.
yeah. So sometimes I mean you can chime in like how do they get their fun or their budget to make their movies and why do they focus on this as their niche? I'm like I guess there's an audience for it. Maybe that's the answer.
I think the majority of their audience is just people mistakenly buying their movies because they have similar titles and names to popular releases that are coming out at the time. Because they
Yeah.
time their releases at the appropriate times where it's like a big popular blockbuster comes out, and then they make this schlock movie with a very similar title, so they probably think, it's the same thing, or let's see how stupid this is. Because I've seen many of their stupid things like Transmorphers, and uh,
Yes.
they did their own War of the Worlds. They
They
did
did
like
their
an
own
Alien
snakes on a
versus
plane.
Predator one.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like snakes on a train, right?
Yes, exactly.
Instead of snakes on a plane. There's like, I think that's like their whole niche that they just do that, and then then they made a shark related thing that was ridiculous enough to make them money. So like, let's make six of them.
So yeah, so that's the thing. I guess that's my final point is that we can laugh at these guys, but at the same time, they're the ones end up laughing all the way to the bank.
Well, yeah,
We can,
they
yeah,
have, they have made a bunch of money off these movies. I'm assuming. I don't know what the cumulative like gross for this franchise is, because I'm sure there is somewhere out there that's accumulated how much this movie, like this franchise, has made because
yeah,
they accumulate it all because you see like Star Wars has made like billions of dollars.
uh-huh.
If you combine all their box office revenue, so I'm assuming that somebody out there has accumulated it so you can see how much money people have actually spent on these movies, even though they're like sci-fi
I
channel
agree.
movies.
I
So
agree.
more power to them.
Hats off to the asylum, you guys. Okay, so last, the Jaws franchise. All right, take it away, Tyler.
Well, do you want to start with like the good one or like the okay one or like the two that are
That's a
just
good point.
like horrible?
Because I don't remember the sequels very well. Let's start with the good one, with the best one. I want to say that I rewatched it again this past week, and I don't know if you agree with me, but I forgot. I didn't remember how long it was. It was like past 2 hours. I was like, I sat through the whole thing. I was like, whoa! I forgot it was a long movie. It was super long, and then and the parts that I actually enjoyed more than the others are actually the trio, the Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw,
Oh
Quint,
yeah, Richard
and
Dreyfuss
Richard
and all
Dreyfuss.
them.
Yeah, the whole thing with the mayor being greedy and all, I didn't like that part because those
Yeah,
parts you don't get to see much of the sharks at all. And so in the trio thing, that's when it gets really escalated. But here's the thing, bro. When I watched Jaws again, the entirety of it, it was not
mm,
even about to me, I don't know about you, but to me, it was the appealing parts were not about the sharks necessarily. It was this conversations and interactions that these three guys have on the boat, especially
yeah,
with Quint's story about the whole USS Indianapolis, where the
yeah.
people get that was like so harrowing. You just so engaged, fixed in on his story, and the way he delivered that story was so good. I was just like, "Fuck the shark! I want to hear more of your stories."
Well, yeah, well, that's what makes Jaws so interesting, as far as like, because it's like one of like the first like big blockbuster, summer blockbuster kind of movies when it came out in the
Yeah.
'70s, and it's not like the schlock we have now, because there's like 5 billion shark movies that are just horrible now, whereas like Spielberg and all them, they did a great job, like just not even just building it around the shark, because it's like the shark obviously is like the main character, but it's not just about the shark, because they didn't want to
Yes.
show the shark as much as they don't want to show the shark too much. So like when you actually see the shark in Jaws, the original, it actually is awesome because like all
Yeah.
the scenes with the shark are like suspenseful. Because I know everybody knows the iconic scenes with the shark in that movie. I mean they're all like timeless, like really famous scenes with Roy and all them.
I agree. And another note that I have also about it is like, well, if you Google it, if you guys Wikipedia it, the production went through hell. It went through nightmare. They had problem with the mechanical shark, and there's also
Yeah,
about shooting in water, and also Steven Spielberg was afraid about the going over budget. He was afraid of getting fired actually, that because he was young at the time. That was like probably his second or third gig. So it
yeah.
was
He
a
wasn't.
it was a
He was relatively new when that movie was being
yeah,
made. It was like '75.
it was a very problematic process, and nobody knew it was gonna be successful. I think people that were on the production even called it flaws because it was just
Yeah.
like they went through all kinds of troubles.
Did you
So
know that Jaws was based on a book?
yes, yes, I do.
I was I was just looking up random stuff because it's like I was thinking, wow, is that really based off a book? So it was like not only that, but the guy who wrote the book wrote the screenplay. So I mean, what makes sense to
Yes,
have the guy that wrote the book, the actual book, to write the screenplay for it. So that's probably part of why it was actually like really good, because he knew what he was talking about, because it was his book.
yeah,
And
yeah,
well, not only that, but like the book, it only came out like a year before the movie came out. Because I think the book came
yes,
out in '74. This came out in '75. So it was like it's not like it's a common practice. Like it's not like it's a thing that just started recently where people will buy the rights to a book to adapt it like immediately. Like that's been going on for that long at least. It's like
yep.
since the '70s, where they just immediately get the rights to a book and make it immediately into a film. Like it was still a thing back then. It's not like a relatively new thing that people do that when they're like, oh, there's no original ideas.
No, I agree with you. I agree, and Watching it again now, and I want to ask your opinion about this. What do you think about the whole look of the mechanical shark? Did it still scare you? Did it still have the same effect when you were watching it when you were younger, maybe? Or do you think the CG sharks work better nowadays?
I guess it really depends on like who's doing the CG as far as that goes, because like sometimes it's like a mixture of the two. But I still think the shark holds up, at least in this movie. I don't. I could say the same for the other sharks in the other Jaws movies, but at least at least in this one, it's believable enough where they don't want to show it too much because they know if they show
Yeah,
too much, people realize that this is obviously not a real shark. But I mean, I think it's effective at least in the original Jaws and
that's
a little
true.
bit in the second one.
That's true.
Second
I
one
like.
actually is not that bad overall compared to the other ones.
Well, I only saw. I didn't. I never watched the second one. You can watch. You can talk about that, and I want to hear your opinion about that. But I saw bits and bits of Jaws 3D. That was horrible.
Yeah,
remember that? Remember Jaws 3D,
lots of
the third one?
3D. Dennis Quaid is the
That
Dennis
is
Quaid
crazy,
is the
dude.
as the adult version of the kid from the first one with the
so
Moody or whatever.
so how are the sequels? How are the second one movie? How's the second
I
one?
mean, the second one's fine. I mean, it's not like amazing. I mean, still obviously Spielberg didn't come back, and they just probably made it just because it made money.
Mm.
And the fact that they made Roy Schneider come back because they forced him to come back, so he's back in the second one because I think I remember correctly, he was supposed to be in a different movie and he had to back out, and so they made him do Jaws 2 to fulfill like his contract terms. So there's like, well, you can back out of that, but because of that, you have to do Jaws 2. So that's why he's in the second one, and then he's not in the other ones.
Did he get eaten? You can spoil it.
I mean, no, he died of. I think he had a heart attack, and that's why they
Oh,
explain why I think in the third one they said he had a heart attack because they that's how they explain why he's not in the third or fourth one because he had a heart attack. They
so
just killed him
Hooper
off.
Hooper
He had a
didn't come back.
fear. I think they said he died of like fear, like he had a heart attack out of like fear of the shark or whatever, some BS like that, just to be like Roy Schneider's not coming back, so he's dead now. So
and
let's just focus on the kids like Dennis Quaid and all them.
and I take it the mechanical sharks didn't do well this time.
Well, it's not even just that. I mean, obviously the Sharks are just not as up to par as compared to the other ones. I mean, the budgets got smaller and smaller because the movies made
Oh,
less and less.
that's true.
Was it the fourth one? I think it's the fourth one where the shark actually like explodes. Because there's I think it's the fourth one, the revenge. Yeah, I think it was the end of the fourth one, the revenge, where at the very end of the climax or whatever, they gotta like stab. They gotta like stab the shark because they gotta like. I'm thinking back of what happened because they actually like they do something to the shark in the fourth one and it makes the shark like roar. It basically sounds like it's roaring. Like it's like a lion roaring at a shark. They make this shark because they're trying to get it to like stand up in the water basically so they can stab it. But when they actually like do, the shark freaking explodes. I kid you not, like it explodes because, well, at least in like the theatrical cut or whatever, because there's like a different cut where it actually just like stabs the shark, like the tip like stabs the shark and the shark bleeds everywhere. But like in the real like normal version, it explodes, like without question, it just explodes.
Wait, so the shark roar? Did the roar sound like a lion? I mean, like.
Yeah, it did. He's like, "Roar." It is like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I mean,
no.
that's not even talking about how dumb the plot is for the fourth one, because the fourth one, Jaws the Revenge, because obviously they kill the shark in like every movie, but Jaws the Revenge,
Oh
the
man.
the shark actually follows the Moody family from Massachusetts to the Bahamas, because that's why it's called the Revenge, because the shark wants revenge for, I guess, killing its friends or family or whatever. So when they go on vacation to the Bahamas, because they're in Massachusetts, but they apparently the shark follows them to the Bahamas from Massachusetts, which is like 1,200 miles like of space. Because when you think of a map, when you think like the Massachusetts is up here, the Bahamas are down here, so it's like this shark swam all the way from the Massachusetts to the Bahamas just to get the family.
so so he has a personal vendetta that
Yeah,
and
that's what I was saying earlier. I was like, oh, speaking of revenge, like literally, that's the plot of Jaws 4. Like he wants revenge. Like the shark actually has a vendetta against the family because they killed their friends or friend sharks or family or whatever.
but here's the thing, the shark that you mentioned in Shark and Revenge, it's not like she had an implanted in her to make her smart like Deep Blue Sea, like so how did she get
No,
this whole
it was just some really
vendetta?
angry shark that just decided to just follow them to the Bahamas, 12 like 1,200 miles from the Massachusetts to the Bahamas, and he followed them the whole way just to kill them in the Bahamas. Michael Caine's in that movie too, by the way.
Wow, for like a short cameo.
He's in it a fair amount. He's actually gone on record in the past saying that he just was in that movie for a paycheck.
Oh, I'm sure he was low on cash at the time.
It was like the 80s. I think Jaws 4 was like the late 80s.
Yeah, he
So
probably
I think so.
he probably needed the cash for crack. I get
Yeah,
it.
I think he said like it. He didn't see the movie, but he did like he was like some quote he said about like he didn't really see the movie, but he did see the house that it built because he because he took the money from it to make a house. I think.
Now, do you think before we go on to the honorable mentions, would you agree if somebody reboots Jaws?
I don't really think you need to reboot Jaws. I mean, isn't there like enough shark movies? Like
Yeah,
you
like
don't really just
like
you can
new
just
Matt
slap that
Hopper.
name on any shark movie and just call it Jaws. Frankly, I mean, it's not like you're just calling it Jaws just to call it Jaws. It's not like there are sharks actually like called Jaws. It's just the name of the book, and it's
Hey,
stupid.
you never know. Everything's a reboot nowadays. We never know,
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because there's like 500. It seems like every day there's like 500 different reboots because you got like an Alf reboot in the works, a Facts of Life
Yes,
reboot in the works,
yes.
a Buffy reboot in the
Reboot.
works.
Everything's
So it's
reboot
like
these days.
apparently you're not allowed to say remake anymore. So
Exactly.
so reboot everything.
Okay, so honorable mentions before we end this video. This is confession time. I've never watched a Shark Tale. The voice starring Will Smith, that animated
Oh,
movie with Robert De
I
Niro.
hate that movie.
How was that?
I thought it sucked.
It's
I didn't like it back. I didn't like it back then, so I don't remember. I don't have like fond memories of it or anything. It's not like because I was young enough to remember when it was new. Because I mean I was young enough for it was like around my age group. I guess I could have seen it. and It wasn't like uncool, but it was like I didn't like it back then. Jack
I
Black
did.
is the shark, and
Yes.
and yeah, it was Jack Black and Will Smith and Renee wasn't Renee Zellweger
Yep.
like the love interest fish or whatever, and Angelina Jolie's in it.
I think my favorite animated shark is Bruce from Finding Nemo.
Yeah,
He,
that's a good one. That's a good one. That has sharks in it.
yeah, he's intimidating, he's scary, and he's friendly at the same time. Like it's like, oh, I want to help you, but I want to eat you. So it's like very conflicted. That's so funny.
Yeah, definitely conflicted.
What did they say? Sharks don't. People aren't food, right?
Fish are our
People.
friends, not food.
Fish are. There you go. Fish are. Vegetarian sharks.
Yeah, that goes
And
over well.
and what's the one that you throw to me on Twitter? I'm curious about that.
Oh, I didn't watch it. I just watched it. I was like, when I looked at it, it was like actually I had to rent it, and then I watched the trailer for it on YouTube, and it was horrible. But it was a house shark. It was like just the. It seems like they spent all the money that they had on that poster because the actual trailer for the movie looked ridiculously horrible, low budget. They probably spent no more than like $1,000 on it.
Wait, what's the plot though? What's the plot? Why house shark? Why house?
There's just like a shark in the house, and they just it's literally like a house shark. It's because like there's scenes where like a fin's going through the house, so it's literally just a shark in the house. It's not like a 500-foot tall shark like the poster I showed you, because I was like, what the heck is this movie where this shark is so huge that it can swallow an entire suburban home?
No. So it's not like the House of Targaryen or the House of Lannister. but it's like house, literally shark in a house.
It's literally like in a house shark. But I mean, there's like sharks like that. There's like I remember there was one movie I watched before called Sand Sharks, where it was just like they were in the sand.
Sand sharks. Did
Yeah,
did the sand shark meet tremors underneath?
yeah, like the real crossover we need: shark like Jaws or Sand Shark versus Tremors.
um, Before we get to the last part, which is the Meg, I also saw this. This is this part of honorable mentions. I forgot the title, but I saw a shark movie. You can help me out if you remember. Starring Julian McMahon, who plays Victor Doom. There's an Australian movie where they got all these characters are caught in a shopping center, and there's a
That
hurricane.
sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, they're all so it's flooded. So they're like standing on top of the shelves. So that's the whole entire movie, and it was so boring. The shark
That
attacks like
sounds like
happen
it.
like once in a blue moon. Yes. Oh my goodness, it's so terrible. I forgot what the title is, but that's also another shark movie that I want to throw out there. No,
Yeah, I haven't. I've only seen bits and pieces of this movie, but there's also one that stars Dolph Lundgren. It's called Shark
oh,
Lake. So it's that there's actually like a movie where Ivan Drago takes on sharks.
did he karate kick the sharks, or did he punch the shark
I
in
didn't
the
I didn't
stomach?
I didn't see him breaking any sharks with his fists, but I was really hoping if I ever do decide to watch the whole thing, he like punches a shark and like kills it like he did Apollo Creed.
Speaking of punching and fist fights, like I think that's one of the disappointments that some reviewers out there had about the Meg. Like Jason Statham, you have Jason Statham, but you don't have him kicking sharks' ass in the Meg.
Well, I don't think that's realistic because the megalodon's massive. Because it's like, what's he gonna? I mean, maybe if it was like a shark in like Fast and the Furious, where anything goes in those movies now. Because I mean, they've gotten more and more absurd. Where like the Rock kick, because like in the last one, the Rock kicks like a missile, and so it's like if they applied those rules to this movie, I mean, I guess he could just fight the shark.
Oh, I think Jason Statham would be perfect for Sharknado 6 if they had him, because that's the kind of movies he does these days. Um, so how from one scale to 1 to 10, how excited are you about the Meg to watch the Meg?
Maybe like a 7.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm my screening for it's actually tomorrow. I don't know
Seven and a
about when
half.
yours. I don't know when yours is. You're screening for it, but
Mine's Wednesday.
okay, because I'm seeing it tomorrow.
And
But
then,
yeah, I'd probably like 7.5, just because like it looks like it could be fun. It looks like, even though it's obviously gonna be dumb, and I don't really like a lot of the cast members, but just like the big cast members like Jason Statham and all that. That seems like it's an okay match as far as that for him versus a massive shark.
well, I don't know if you know this. The budget is $150 million. I kid you
That
not.
that's pretty large for a shark movie.
Yeah, and
I, that's
for for something that's also you don't know if it's gonna return on investment that much either. You know?
well, yeah, because the percent. I'm curious. Like, probably at least you probably think at least like 50 to 60% of that's just on the shark,
Yeah.
because it's not like there's really much else. I'm assuming as far as CGI wise, as far as like because it's just the giant shark. Like it's just one massive shark. Like why? Well, no, there's because he fights that octopus in that one scene,
Yeah.
I guess. But I
Well,
mean,
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying, unless like there's other monsters, like it's a Godzilla situation where it's like like he fights a secret monster or something. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
But do you remember that final scene in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom when the prehistoric shark, almost eat that surfer those surfers? I was like, we just had the Meg basically in that one scene. That was the Meg.
I thought you were about to say the end scene from Fallen Kingdom where the chick lets all the dinosaurs out. So
No,
is anything gonna be the situation where that little Asian kid is the reason why the megalodon's free, because she's like they're alive too. As this megalodon kills an entire continent's worth of people.
Yeah. I was like, poor surfers, man. They were just like doing their fun. I was like, do you see the shadow of the prehistoric shark going at them? I was like, we just had the Meg right there. I was like, we don't need to have the Meg in there.
That's actually based on a book too. The Meg. It's actually there's like 6 or 8. There's like 6 or 7 of them.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay, okay.
Speaking of books and all that, because like Jaws, there's like seven Meg books.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. I've looked it up not that long ago. There's like seven or eight of them.
Are they bestsellers? Do you know?
I don't. I mean, I feel like I would know if at least one of them was a bestseller.
So I guess the question is, do they compile those six books into this one movie, or they just go for the first book?
I don't know, but I mean, I only read the synopsis for the second one because they only have there's only a Wikipedia page for the first two books. They just don't care about the other several of them. But it seems like based off of the second book, it's called like the Meg 2 or whatever, but like they follow like a different prehistoric shark. So I forget what it was called, but it was just another different prehistoric shark in the second one. So I guess it's just like them, like they're technically the Meg, but they're just dealing with that's the same guys just dealing with another giant prehistoric shark.
Well, I think my prediction is that it's gonna tank at the box office domestically, and so they're hoping at least it will do better internationally. But I don't know if international audiences would even bite, the bait. I think they would be. I think they're too smart. I think that the movie or WB is underestimating the intelligence of international audiences.
Well, yeah, because it seems like it's gonna cater. It looks like it is gonna try and cater to both the American audience and the Chinese audience because they did cast several like kind of popular Chinese actresses in there. I forget her name, but I've seen her in many other things.
Bing Bing Lee, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So I've seen her in a couple other things in like the last couple of years. So it's like you can see they're probably trying to cater a little bit towards their market with that. Kind of like with Skyscraper. Skyscraper had like a bunch of international actors because it's supposed to be set over there anyways. But then it did really well. Then it did like pretty well overall overseas compared to domestic,
it tanked
domestic
here.
International.
Because
it was ridiculous. Because it was horrible. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe it's like the same situation because it could do the same, or it could do the same or the opposite, where it does really well here and then tanks over there.
I know, but 150 million is quite the gamble, though. I think they could have cut it down some more, the budget wise.
Wasn't Skyscraper's budget around that too? Like 100 something $1 million?
I think it's close to that, but I don't think it's that quite. But I think close to that.
Even though it was just The Rock and the giant burning building for like half an hour, hour and a half. I mean,
so I guess they can depend on how big of a star power Jason Statham is compared to Dwayne Johnson. That's the draw for the box office. Because if people don't want to watch it for the shark, it's like would people watch it for the Bing Lee or Jason Statham? So that's the next question.
Maybe there's a lot of Rainn Wilson fans and Ruby Rose fans because they're in it too apparently.
I love those guys. We're like, why?
Remember like 2-3 years ago when like the entire internet and world actually was obsessed with Ruby Rose?
Yes. That was around Orange is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black.
Yeah. Go ahead.
She was cast in that, and then like she was like the hottest thing on the planet, and then they started giving her like other acting roles, and they realized she can't really act, but yet she still keeps getting roles.
Triple X, Pitch Perfect 3.
And she had that major henchman role in John Wick 2, and she didn't even speak. They didn't even give her lines.
That's how bad she is.
She didn't even give her lines. She did communicate through sign language the whole movie.
Oh my god. Oh well. Let's conclude with that. Best of luck. Enjoy the Meg tomorrow. I'm watching it on Wednesday, but I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna watch it. I'm gonna review it, and that's it, and go on to the next one. That's my take on it. So really, my expectations like this low.
Oh yeah, because what do you think of the new releases this week? It's that and the Slender Man movie.
Yes.
Woohoo! Watch out for that box office competition. The Meg versus Slender Man.
I'm watching it on Tuesday. Slender Man. I'm really gonna be shaking my head the entire time.
I'm going to be messaging you Tuesday asking you. Well, I don't know. I don't know if there'll be an embargo or anything. I haven't. There hasn't been. There actually isn't any screenings here, as far as I know. I haven't invited to anything.
I'll tweet
But
you, man. I'll tweet you.
but I was gonna say, because like that's good to know. There's been no screenings here, so I definitely want to know how bad of a shit show it is. Because I may end up going to see it Thursday or Friday. Well, I can't see it Thursday, but Friday.
Do
Just
it,
because
man.
I'm just for the pain for my channel.
well, before sorry, off tangent here, but it also stars Joey King, who starred in Wish Upon. I was like,
Yeah,
why, Joey? Why? Why are you doing this to yourself?
that movie was just dumb. I have my own thought. Well, I actually reviewed that movie like forever ago in the infancy of my channel, and even then, I was like, well, "That movie was so dumb." Like Joey King, I like Joey King as an actress, but she needs to deal with her manager, or whoever keeps getting her these roles, because these last several movies I've seen her in, between Wish Upon and The Kissing Booth on Netflix,
Yes.
and then Slender Man. It's like all these movies are just horrible. Like stop, fire your agent.
Joey, you are this close to becoming Tara Reid in Sharknado, so please fire your
Yeah.
agent and get new
Yeah,
gigs.
next thing you know, she's gonna be in she's gonna be in a shark movie.
Well, Tyler Calvert, thank you so much for joining me on this shark movies discussion, buddy. For my fans and your fans, shout out your channel.
Well, I mean, it'll probably be in the link down below somewhere in the description. But my
I'll
channel is
definitely,
literally just
definitely.
yeah, it's literally just my name. It's Tyler Calvert. I'm not very original with names, so I
No
just went
worries.
with my actual name. So maybe down the line I'll think of something clever. But for the last year and a half, almost 2 years, it's just my name. Seems to be working so far.
And where can they follow you online too?
Mostly Twitter and Instagram. Twitter, it's Tyler_Calvert 23, and Instagram, it's Tyler Calvert 23 with no underscore.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tyler, and till the next time. All right.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me on, Rama.
Let's rock this.
Definitely, let's rock. Let's rock this, as you always say.